The stars bent and twisted as the UES Thunderchild tore through space. Captain Jack Stone gripped his command chair, his knuckles white. The experimental jump drive hummed and screeched, sending vibrations through the entire ship. "Engine status," he shouted over the noise. "Not good, Captain," Mike Rodriguez called back from the engineering station. "The drive wasn't ready for a jump this long. We're losing control of our exit point." The view screen showed only swirls of blue and white as the human warship traveled through the fold in space. It was Earth's first true warship, built after years of peace. The Thunderchild carried weapons that had never been tested in real combat. "Brace for exit," First Officer Lisa Reed warned. "Everyone hold on." The ship shuddered violently, then snapped back into normal space. Alarms blared across the bridge. The crew fought to stay in their seats. "Systems report," Stone ordered as the ship stabilized. "Jump drive is offline," Rodriguez said. "We're lucky it didn't explode. Where are we, Athena?" The ship's AI responded in a calm voice. "Unknown sector, Captain. No match with Earth star charts." Stone looked at the view screen and froze. My God. Before them, a massive space battle raged. Hundreds of ships fired at each other, energy beams cutting through the darkness. On one side, sleek silver vessels formed tight formations. On the other, black ships shaped like claws attacked in waves. "Tactical analysis," Stone said quietly. Sam Wilson studied his screens. "The Silver Fleet is losing badly. They've lost at least 30 ships since we arrived. The Black Fleet is pressing their advantage." "Are we being targeted?" Reed asked. "Not yet. I don't think they've noticed us. We're small compared to those battleships." Stone watched as 3 silver ships exploded under concentrated fire. He had never seen such destruction, even in simulations. "Captain," Athena announced, "I'm detecting a transmission on all frequencies. It appears to be a distress call." "Put it through." The bridge speakers crackled with a voice speaking an alien language. Behind the words, they heard explosions and alarms. "Athena, can you translate?" "Working, Captain. Basic syntax patterns suggest it's a call for immediate assistance and retreat." The speaker identifies as Admiral Wren of the Galactic Coalition. "The silver ships must be this coalition," Reed said. Stone nodded. "And they're about to be wiped out." On the largest black ship, Lord Drac watched the battle with satisfaction. His Void Dominion forces had the coalition fleet surrounded. Victory was certain. "Lord Drac," his sensor officer called. "We're detecting a new ship." It appeared suddenly on the edge of the battle. "Coalition reinforcements?" Drac asked. "Unknown design. Very small. Not a threat." Drac dismissed it with a wave. "Continue the attack. I want the Coalition flagship destroyed within the hour." On the Coalition flagship, alarms blared as systems failed. Admiral Wren, a tall being with 4 arms and blue skin, fought to keep his crew focused as the ship shook from another hit. "Shields at 12%, his second officer reported. "We cannot hold much longer." "Keep broadcasting the retreat order," Wren said grimly. "Any ship that can still jump must escape." "Admiral," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a response to our distress call." "From where?" "All our reinforcements were destroyed." "Unknown ship, strange design. They're transmitting in a language our systems can't fully translate." On the Thunderchild, Stone made his decision. "Open a channel to the Coalition flagship." "Sir," Reed looked concerned, "we don't know anything about this conflict." "I know they're about to die," Stone said firmly. "Athena, prepare our weapons systems. Sam, give me targeting solutions on the lead black ships." "Channel open, Captain," Athena reported. Stone stood up straight. "This is Captain Jack Stone of the Earth ship Thunderchild. We stand ready to assist. Please transmit targeting data." The bridge fell silent as they waited for a response, the glow of the battle reflecting on their faces. The UES Thunderchild, a single human warship, was about to change everything. Admiral Wren stared at the message on his screen. The strange ship had appeared from nowhere, and now its captain was offering help. The coalition was losing badly. Any assistance, even from an unknown species, might save lives. Should we respond, Admiral? His communications officer asked. Another blast rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a damaged console. We have little choice, Wren decided. Send them our tactical data. Tell them to focus on the Dominion's left flank. On the Thunderchild, Stone received the alien battle plans. Athena translated them quickly. The coalition ships are down to 30% of their original force, Wilson reported. Their flagship won't last much longer. Stone nodded. What do we have that they don't expect? Our rail guns, Rodriguez suggested. The energy readings show both sides using energy weapons. Physical projectiles might surprise them. Load the rails. Target the 3 lead ships on the left flank. Stone turned to Reed. Lisa, what's your take on getting involved? Reed frowned. We don't know who's right in this fight, but that Dominion fleet is clearly the aggressor, and they outnumber the coalition 3-1. My thoughts exactly. Stone said. Humanity has always stood against bullies. Let's show them what we can do. Athena. Battle stations. Red lights flashed throughout the ship as crew members rushed to their combat positions. The Thunderchild's engines hummed as it accelerated toward the battle. Lord Drac was about to order the final attack when his tactical officer shouted in alarm. The small ship is moving. It's heading straight for our flank at high speed. Drac laughed. One tiny vessel? What can it possibly? His words were cut short as the Thunderchild fired. Solid metal slugs traveling at near light speed tore through the shields of the first Dominion ship. The alien vessel, unprepared for physical weapons, split apart in a silent explosion. Impossible, Drac shouted. Target that ship immediately. The Thunderchild didn't slow down. It weaved between energy blasts with surprising agility. They're not used to our maneuvers, Wilson said, hands flying over his tactical console. Their targeting systems are struggling to predict our course. Stone smiled. Keep it random, Athena. Don't establish any pattern they can lock onto. The human warship fired again. 2 more Dominion vessels exploded. The coalition ships, seeing an opening, rallied and focused their fire on the same sector. Admiral Wren couldn't believe what he was seeing. The unknown ship was tiny compared to his vessels, yet it fought with incredible effectiveness. What kind of species builds such a ship? He wondered aloud. His science officer studied the readings. Their weapons are primitive but ingenious. They're firing physical projectiles at relativistic speeds. Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not solid matter. Can we adapt our shields? Yes, but it will take time. This species fights in ways we've never seen. On the Thunderchild, Rodriguez worked frantically at his station. Their weapons are adjusting to target us specifically, he reported. They're learning our tricks. A blast grazed the ship, shaking it violently. Warning lights flashed on several consoles. Shields holding at 70%, Wilson called out. But they won't miss by much next time. Stone nodded grimly. Time to get creative. Athena, plot a course directly between their 2 largest vessels. Captain, Reed objected. That's suicide. We'll be caught in crossfire from both ships. Exactly, Stone said with a small smile. They'll have to fire at each other to hit us. Sam, prepare to drop countermeasures on my mark. The Thunderchild accelerated toward the gap between 2 massive Dominion battleships. Energy weapons from both sides tracked the small human vessel. Now, Stone ordered. The ship released a cloud of reflective particles just as the Dominion ships fired. The energy beams hit the particles, splitting and reflecting in all directions. Both alien vessels took heavy damage from their own weapons. In the coalition flagship, Admiral Wren watched in amazement. Contact that ship again, he ordered. I need to speak with this Captain Stone. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, Wren felt hope. These humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. Perhaps the Dominion had finally met its match. The Thunderchild's bridge flickered with static as Admiral Wren's face appeared on the main screen. His blue skin and 4 arms surprised the human crew, but Stone kept his expression calm. "Captain Stone," Wren said, his voice translated by Athena. "Your tactics are unusual. My fleet thanks you for your assistance." Stone nodded. "Happy to help, Admiral. We should coordinate our next move." "Agreed. The Dominion is regrouping. They've never faced your weapons before, but they adapt quickly." As if to prove Wren's point, a massive energy wave surged toward the Thunderchild. The ship rocked violently as the blast hit. "Shields down to 40%. Rodriguez called out. "They've modified their weapons to penetrate our defenses." Stone gripped his chair. "What's your assessment, Sam?" Wilson studied his tactical display. "They're focusing fire on us. They see us as the biggest threat now." "Good," Stone said with a grim smile. "Admiral Wren, can your ships attack while they're distracted with us?" Wren nodded on the screen. "Already moving into position. But Captain, your small vessel cannot withstand their concentrated fire for long." "We don't need long. Just keep your ships ready." Stone turned to his crew as the communication ended. "Mike, what can we do to confuse their targeting systems?" Rodriguez thought for a moment. "We could release our sensor drones. Program them to emit the same energy signature as the Thunderchild. Might split their fire." "Do it. Lisa, take weapons control. Sam, help Mike with the drones. Athena, plot a series of short jumps around their fleet." "Captain," Athena responded, "the jump drive is still damaged." "Can we manage small, controlled jumps?" Rodriguez nodded slowly. "Maybe. 3 or 4 at most before the drive burns out completely. That's all we need." On his command ship, Lord Drac paced furiously. 3 of his best vessels destroyed by a single small ship. It was unacceptable. "All ships focus on the human vessel," he ordered. "I want it destroyed immediately." His tactical officer looked nervous. "Lord Drac, we're detecting multiple copies of their energy signature." "Impossible. Find the real one." On the Thunderchild, Stone watched as the Dominion fleet fired at the drones, speeding away from his ship. "Now, Athena. First jump." The ship vanished, reappearing behind the Dominion's right flank. Before they could react, the Thunderchild fired its railguns, tearing through 2 more enemy ships. "Second jump," Stone ordered. The ship disappeared again, this time emerging directly above the Dominion formation. More railgun fire rained down, causing chaos in the enemy ranks. In the Coalition flagship, Admiral Wren saw his opportunity. "All ships, attack now. Follow the humans' lead." The Coalition vessels surged forward, firing at the confused Dominion ships. For the first time in the battle, the Dominion forces began to fall back. On the Thunderchild, warning lights flashed across every console. "Jump drive overheating," Rodriguez warned. "1 more jump at most." Stone nodded. "Make it count. Target their command ship." The human vessel vanished one final time, reappearing directly in front of Lord Drac's massive flagship. The Dominion Lord stared in shock at the tiny ship that had caused so much damage. "Fire everything," he screamed. But the Thunderchild fired first. Railgun slugs tore through the command ship's bridge, missing Drac but killing most of his officers. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive vessel. The Thunderchild pulled away as the Coalition fleet pressed their advantage. The Dominion ships, with their command structure in chaos, began to retreat. "Jump drive completely offline," Rodriguez reported. "We're stuck with conventional engines now." Stone nodded. "That's fine. We've done our part." Reed looked at the tactical display. "The Dominion fleet is pulling back. We actually did it." "Don't celebrate yet," Stone cautioned. "This was just one battle, and now they know what we can do. They'll be ready next time." Admiral Wren's face appeared on the screen again, his expression one of amazement and respect. "Captain Stone, you have turned the tide of a battle we thought lost. The Coalition is in your debt." Stone smiled tiredly. "We should talk, Admiral. My crew and I are a long way from home, and I think we have much to learn from each other." As the Coalition ships moved to protect the damaged Thunderchild, Lord Drac watched from his crippled flagship, his eyes fixed on the small human vessel. "Find out everything about these humans," he ordered his remaining officers. "I want to know where they come from, and how to destroy them all." The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. The Coalition flagship's meeting chamber fell silent as Captain Stone finished explaining humanity's history of warfare. Admiral Wren and his commanders stared at the human with a mixture of horror and fascination. "You mean to say," Wren finally spoke, "that your species has fought amongst itself for most of its history, thousands of years of conflict?" Stone nodded. "War shaped us, forced us to adapt, to think differently. Each conflict brought new tactics, new technologies." A tall, thin alien with green skin leaned forward. "And this is why your small ship could cause so much damage. Because you think like warriors." "We think like survivors," Reed corrected. "Humans have always found ways to overcome stronger enemies." The Coalition leaders exchanged troubled glances. Their species had evolved with more cooperative instincts. War with the Dominion had been difficult precisely because aggression didn't come naturally to them. "Show them the weapons analysis," Wren ordered his science officer. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing detailed scans of the Thunderchild's rail guns. "Your projectile weapons are simple in design," the science officer explained, "yet devastatingly effective against our shields. We never considered physical ammunition because energy weapons seemed more advanced." Rodriguez laughed softly. "Sometimes the old ways work best. Your energy shields stop energy, not metal moving at near light speed." Stone watched the Coalition leaders study the human technology with interest. "We're happy to share our designs if it helps against the Dominion." Wren nodded gratefully. "The Dominion has pushed us back for years. They consume worlds, strip them of resources. Your arrival may have changed everything." On his damaged flagship, Lord Drac received the intelligence report with growing rage. The humans were meeting with the Coalition leadership. Their weapons were being studied, their tactics analyzed. "We cannot allow this," he hissed. "One human ship nearly defeated us. Imagine what will happen if the Coalition adopts their methods." His new second officer stepped forward. "My lord, we have an agent embedded in Admiral Wren's crew. They can sabotage the human vessel before it causes more damage." Drax smiled coldly. "Do it. I want that ship destroyed from within." Back on the Thunderchild, Wilson worked with Athena to strengthen the ship's security systems. The damage from battle had left them vulnerable. "Something doesn't feel right," he said quietly. "Explain, Officer Wilson," Athena replied. "The way the Dominion retreated. It was too quick, too organized for a force that just lost its command structure." Reed overheard as she entered the bridge. "You think they're planning something?" "I think we should be careful who we trust," Wilson answered. "The Coalition seems friendly, but we're strangers here." In the engine room, Rodriguez worked alongside Coalition engineers to repair the jump drive. One of the aliens, a quiet technician named Tor, kept asking detailed questions about the ship's systems. "How does your ship generate power?" Tor asked, reaching toward a critical junction box. Rodriguez frowned, noticing something odd about Tor's movements. They were too precise, too focused on vital systems. "That's classified," he said casually, moving between Tor and the junction box. "Why don't we focus on the drive stabilizers first?" Tor nodded, but Rodriguez noticed a flash of frustration in the alien's eyes. Later, as the repair crew took a break, Rodriguez quietly approached Wilson. "I think we have a problem," he whispered. "One of the Coalition engineers is too interested in our power systems." Wilson nodded slowly. "I've been monitoring internal sensors. Someone accessed our weapons database during the last shift." They brought their concerns to Stone, who listened carefully. Alert security, but don't make it obvious, he ordered. I'll talk to Admiral Wren about his crew. That night, as most of the ship slept, Tor moved silently through the darkened corridors. The sabotage device was small but powerful, designed to overload the Thunderchild's power core. As he reached the main engineering section, lights suddenly flooded the corridor. Going somewhere? Wilson asked, weapon raised. Behind Tor, Reed and a security team blocked the other exit. How did you know? Tor demanded. Wilson smiled grimly. Humans are very good at spotting threats. It's how we survived all those thousands of years of war. Admiral Wren was horrified when Stone presented the captured spy. A Dominion agent, Wren confirmed after interrogation. They've been one step ahead of us for years. Now I understand why. Stone nodded. The Dominion knows we're a threat. They'll come back stronger next time. And we'll be ready, Wren promised. My engineers are already modifying our ships based on your designs. As they spoke, distant alarms began to sound across the Coalition base. A communications officer burst into the room. Admiral, multiple Dominion fleets are jumping into the system, far more than before. Stone and Wren exchanged looks. The real battle was just beginning. The Situation Room buzzed with urgent activity as Coalition officers rushed to battle stations. The holographic display showed dozens of Dominion ships jumping into the system. They'd brought their entire battle fleet, Wren said grimly. They mean to finish us once and for all. Stone studied the display with narrowed eyes. They're arranged differently than before. 3 layers of defense around a central command ship. The Planet Killer, Wren explained, pointing to a massive vessel at the center of the formation. It can destroy an entire world. They've never deployed it except for the final conquest of a system. Rodriguez entered the room, his face streaked with engine grease. Captain, I've been working on the jump drive. We can get 1 more jump out of it. Maybe 2 if we're lucky. Stone nodded thoughtfully. 1 jump might be all we need. What are you thinking, Captain? Reed asked. Stone walked around the display, examining the Dominion formation from all angles. The Dominion learns and adapts. They've seen our rail guns now. They'll have countermeasures. Correct, said a Coalition tactical officer. Our scouts report they've modified their shields to resist physical projectiles. Stone smiled slightly, but they're still expecting us to fight conventionally, to shoot at them from a distance. Reed's eyes widened as she realized what Stone was suggesting. You want to jump the Thunderchild directly into their formation. Not just into it. Inside their flagship's shields. The room fell silent. Admiral Wren looked at Stone with shock. That's impossible. Their shields would tear your ship apart. Not if we calibrate our jump precisely. Shields are designed to keep things out, not contain things that appear inside them. Rodriguez rubbed his chin. It could work. If we tuned the jump drive to match the exact frequency of their shields, we might slip through the barrier like it isn't even there. And then what? Wren asked. Your ship would be surrounded by the entire Dominion fleet. Stone's expression hardened. We load our jump drive to overload. Make it into a bomb. The Coalition leaders stared at him in disbelief. The energy released would be enormous, Rodriguez explained. The drive manipulates space-time. If it fails catastrophically while active, it could destroy everything nearby. Reed finished, including us. Wren shook his head. We cannot ask you to sacrifice yourselves. Your ship has already done enough. We're not asking permission, Admiral, Stone said firmly. This is our choice. My ship, my crew. Reed stepped forward. The Thunderchild's crew will volunteer only. No one is forced to stay aboard. Stone nodded in agreement. We need to move quickly. The Dominion fleet will be in attack position within 6 hours. As the meeting dissolved into urgent preparations, Stone gathered his core crew in a quiet corner. I won't order anyone to stay, he said solemnly. This mission is likely one way. Wilson smiled grimly. I'm staying, Captain. We're too far from Earth to get back anyway. Me too, Rodriguez added. Someone has to make sure that drag overloads properly. Reed nodded. I'm with you, Captain. Always. And I will remain as well. Athena's voice came from nearby speakers. My programming is unique to this ship. I would not function the same elsewhere. Stone looked at his loyal crew with pride. Then let's get to work. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Rodriguez worked frantically on the jump drive, tuning it to match the Dominion shields. Wilson and Reed prepared the ship's defenses for one final battle. In the Coalition Command Center, Admiral Wren watched as his ships formed a defensive line. The human plan is bold, his second officer commented. But one ship against the entire Dominion fleet. Never underestimate these humans, Wren replied. They think differently than we do. Than the Dominion does. On the Planet Killer flagship, Lord Drac watched with satisfaction as his fleet moved into attack formation. The Coalition is trapped, he said confidently. And this time, that human ship won't surprise us. Little did he know, Stone and his crew were counting on exactly that assumption. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Stone took his command chair one last time. His crew worked quietly at their stations, each focused on their tasks. Jump drive modified and ready, Rodriguez reported from engineering. Timer set for remote activation. Stone nodded. Plot jump coordinates directly into the heart of the Planet Killer. Reed looked up from her console. Dominion fleet is advancing. They'll be in firing range in 10 minutes. Perfect timing, Stone said with a grim smile. Let's show them what one human ship can really do. The Thunderchild accelerated toward the approaching Dominion fleet, a tiny vessel against an armada of warships. Inside the bridge, the crew worked with quiet determination. This would be their final battle. Coalition forces in position, Wilson reported. They're drawing the Dominion's attention to the left flank, just as planned. Stone nodded. Good. Athena, status of our jump calculations. Final coordinates locked. The AI responded. 98% probability of successful penetration of the Planet Killer's shields. Reed looked up from her station. And the other 2%. We materialize partially inside the shield itself. Rodriguez answered from engineering, which would tear us apart instantly. Stone smiled grimly. Let's focus on the 98%, shall we? The first wave of Dominion fire streaked across space. The Thunderchild rolled and weaved, avoiding the deadly energy beams by narrow margins. They're trying to hurt us, Wilson observed, pushing us toward their heavy cruisers. Let them think it's working, Stone ordered. Follow their lead, but keep our distance. Lord Drac watched from his command chair as the human ship danced through his fleet's fire. It was impressive, but futile. They cannot evade forever, he told his officers. Soon they will make a mistake. His tactical officer nodded. The trap is ready, my lord. When they try to use their jump technology, our new countermeasures will disable it. Drac smiled coldly. And then we will destroy them, once and for all. The battle intensified as the Thunderchild pressed closer to the Dominion lines. The ship shuddered as a blast grazed their port side. Shield down to 30%. Rodriguez called out, one more direct hit and we're done. Stone's hands tightened on his chair. Almost there. Just a little closer. The Planet Killer loomed ahead, a massive dark shape against the stars. Its weapons ports glowed with building energy, preparing to fire. They're charging their main cannon, Reed warned, targeting the Coalition homeworld. Stone nodded. Right on schedule. Athena, prepare for jump. Detecting unusual energy patterns from the Dominion fleet, Wilson suddenly called out. They've deployed some kind of dampening field. Stone exchanged worried glances with Reed. They're trying to block our jump capability. Can we get through it? Reed asked. Rodriguez's voice came through the comm, strained but determined. I can boost the drive output, but it'll accelerate the overload. We won't have time to jump back out. We were never going to jump back out, Stone said quietly. Proceed with the boost. The Thunderchild surged forward, its engines glowing white-hot with effort. Dominion ships closed in from all sides, their weapons focused on the lone human vessel. "Jump drive at maximum," Rodriguez shouted over the sound of failing systems. "It's now or never, Captain." Stone took one last look at his crew, friends who had followed him across the stars to this final moment. "Jump," he ordered softly. Space twisted around the Thunderchild as the drive engaged. For a terrifying moment, nothing happened, the dampening field fighting against their technology. Then, with a flash of light, the ship vanished. On the Planet Killer's bridge, alarms blared as sensors detected an anomaly. "Something's inside our shields," an officer shouted in panic. Lord Drac spun around, his eyes widening as the Thunderchild materialized directly in front of his command station. Through the viewport, he locked eyes with Captain Stone, who offered a small, defiant salute. "How?" Drac began. The Thunderchild's jump drive detonated, releasing its energy in a blinding flash. The Planet Killer shuddered as reality itself seemed to tear apart within its shields. Secondary explosions cascaded through the massive vessel as its power core destabilized. In the Coalition Command Center, Admiral Wren watched in awe as the Planet Killer erupted in a ball of light. The shockwave rippled outward, catching nearby Dominion ships in its destruction. "They did it," Wren whispered. "By the stars, they actually did it." The Dominion fleet fell into chaos as their command ship disintegrated. Without leadership or orders, some ships continued to fight, while others began to retreat. The Coalition forces pressed their advantage, using tactics learned from the humans to devastating effect. Hours later, as the battle wound down and the last Dominion ships fled the system, search teams combed the debris field where the Planet Killer had been. "Nothing could have survived that explosion," a Coalition officer told Admiral Wren. "The humans knew it was a one-way mission." Wren nodded sadly. "Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. Captain Stone and his crew saved not just this world, but perhaps our entire civilization." As Wren turned to leave, a junior officer rushed up to him. "Admiral, we're detecting a faint signal from the debris field. It's using human communication protocols." Wren froze. "Impossible." Admiral Wren's ship raced toward the faint signal, pushing its engines to their limits. The debris field from the destroyed Planet Killer stretched for thousands of kilometers, a graveyard of twisted metal and broken technology. "Signal getting stronger," the communications officer reported. "Definitely human in origin." Wren stood at the viewport, hardly daring to hope. It seemed impossible that anyone could have survived the explosion that destroyed the Dominion flagship. "There," his first officer pointed, "in that large section of hull plating." The searchlights illuminated a chunk of debris larger than the others. It tumbled slowly in the void, scorched and battered. As they moved closer, Wren recognized the bridge section of the Thunderchild, somehow torn away before the main explosion. "Life signs?" he asked urgently. "Faint but present. The compartment still holds atmosphere." Wren ordered rescue teams to deploy immediately. Coalition shuttles raced toward the drifting bridge section, attaching emergency docking tubes to its damaged hull. Inside the ruined bridge, emergency lights cast a dim red glow over the scene. Captain Stone lay slumped in his command chair, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Around him, his crew was scattered, injured but alive. "Captain," Athena's voice came weakly from a damaged speaker. "Coalition rescue teams approaching. I've maintained minimal life support as ordered." Stone managed a pained smile. "Good work, Athena. You kept us alive." Rescue teams cut through the sealed doors, rushing in with medical equipment. Stone watched through blurry vision as they tended to his crew first, Reed, Wilson, and the others. "The drive?" he asked a Coalition medic who knelt beside him. "It worked, Captain," the alien said. "The Planet Killer is destroyed. The Dominion fleet is in retreat across the sector." Stone closed his eyes, allowing himself to feel relief as the medics lifted him onto a stretcher. 2 weeks later, Stone stood on the observation deck of the Coalition headquarters. His arm was in a sling, and healing burns covered much of his body. But he was alive. They all were. The partial bridge separation saved you, Admiral Wren explained, standing beside him. Rodriguez triggered it just before the jump drive detonated. The final act of human ingenuity. Stone nodded sadly. Mike didn't make it, did he? I'm sorry. Engineering was at the center of the explosion. There was no chance of survival. They stood in silence, watching ships move through the busy space dock. Many now bore new weapons, rail guns, and projectile launchers based on human designs. Your tactics have changed everything, Wren said finally. The Dominion ruled through fear and superior technology. But they never faced an enemy who thought differently, who adapted faster than they could. A group of coalition officers approached, saluting both Stone and Wren. The War Council has approved the proposal, the lead officer announced. We will send a delegation to Earth to formally invite humans to join the coalition. Stone raised an eyebrow. Earth is very far from here. It will take years for your ships to reach it. Wren smiled. Not with the improved jump drive your engineer Rodriguez was designing. His notes survived in Athena's memory. Our scientists believe we can replicate it within months. Stone looked out at the stars, thinking of home. Earth isn't unified yet. We still fight amongst ourselves. Perhaps a common purpose will help change that, Wren suggested. Your people have much to teach us, Captain Stone. Later that day, Stone visited his recovering crew in the medical bay. Reed was already up and walking, while Wilson sat at a terminal, teaching coalition technicians about human security protocols. Captain, Reed greeted him. Have you heard? They're naming their new flagship after the Thunderchild. Stone smiled. Rodriguez would have liked that. Wilson looked up from his terminal. They'd found something else in the debris field. Something from the Planet Killer's data core. You need to see this. The screen showed star charts and attack plans. The Dominion had been preparing invasion routes, not just for coalition worlds, but beyond, including a path toward a small yellow star with a blue planet third from its sun. They knew about Earth, Reed whispered. They were coming for us next. Stone's expression hardened. Then it's good we found the coalition first. 6 months later, a coalition ship appeared in Earth's solar system, carrying Captain Stone and his surviving crew. The message they brought with them changed human history forever. Earth was not alone in the universe, and humanity's unique way of thinking, of fighting, of surviving, was needed. As nations gathered to meet the alien delegation, Admiral Wren stood beside Stone, watching Earth grow larger in the view screen. Are you ready? Wren asked. Stone nodded. To tell humanity that one small warship changed the course of a galactic war. That our perspective might save a civilization of 1,000 worlds. He smiled. I think we're ready for that challenge. Behind them, shipyards throughout coalition space were already building new vessels, each bearing the same insignia. Earth's continents overlaid on a field of stars, with the silhouette of the Thunderchild beneath them. The legend of the human warship that arrived to change everything was just beginning.